This is a tunnel video about this number 15. And I wanted to talk about the 80s. I mean, I just finished the music and everything, and I have some time. And I wanted to talk, it's a tunnel video. It's talking about memories. And I wanted to talk about memories. Uh, I'm talking about the 80s, the tunnel videos for the 80s. Um, there's some things I wanted to say. I'm just getting them straight. I was gonna mention something about uh, a star that I appreciate, but I'm gonna talk about all the stars since I'm not gonna put it on one star. I mean, as far as music and as far as the just stars in general, like the famous people. I mean, who did the movies and in the 80s and the music. And what I miss the most about the 80s is probably the roughness of everybody. I'm not talking about a bad roughness, but a living day to day, which is important. I mean, you have to plan and everything, and that's important. But how a little bit more gruffy things were. I just made up that word. I don't think it means anything. But it was gruffy. It was like, everybody, I know everybody talks about smoking. Everybody was like smoking, and like you go into a bar and you would go out all the time. I mean, we would go out, and this is after I guess I can remember like when uh, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, you already know that. But when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I experienced it a little bit more toward my exiting the Jehovah's Witness. And I got a chance to see the enjoyment in life. And the thing I remember the most is when I was going out with my friends, and I was pretty much sheltered, and I was at this bar, this dance, it's a dance club really. They had a lot of dance clubs. And I remember I had a Tanqueray in my hand, and it's about this special time. You know how you remember special times, and I remember I had a plastic cup of Tanqueray and tonic with lime, and I was there, and I wanted to remember it. I didn't know I wanted to remember it, but I made that special snapshot in my mind. And they had like three or four dance floors I could look at and listen to the loud music and the dancing. And I'm sorry to say this, but you could smoke there and just enjoy this moment. And I snapshotted it. Everybody snapshot. Snapshot is like you just want to remember something. And it was free, and I didn't experience that much because I was Jehovah's Witness. I grew up sheltered. And that's what I want to remember about the 80s. We would go to work, and we knew we had to go to work. That was just something you had to do. But you didn't worry about so many things. You didn't take things for granted back then. And you knew you had to enjoy that time that you had. And you could meet people and just have a great time. And you didn't ask that many questions. You didn't have that many questions. You would figure out things like in a split second. And I also remember the people that I danced with. Everywhere you go, there was dancing. I mean, if you couldn't go into a bar, a regular bar or a restaurant, usually without a DJ or a dance floor. And some of the people I remember even today that I danced with. And you didn't think of so many things about the people that you went out with. And sometimes you would meet people and you had this gut feeling. That's one thing in the 80s. There was a gut feeling that you had to go by because they didn't have so much information. So you had to know certain things, as far as trusting certain people and doing certain things. I'm not saying that it's bad now because time will go on. This is a tunnel video. And it's very important now, and we enjoy ourselves now. But I'm just talking about the 80s. And time will change now like it did for me. But I want to talk about this time that we had in the 80s. And the singers and the musicians, they went by gut feeling. And they had to be perfect. And they had to do things the right way. But you had to learn from this cave inside of you back then. And it had to sound like good. And if you didn't sound good, that you weren't going to do anything. So you had to have that ringing of perfection. When you heard something, you had to hear the ringing of perfection. And it's just about that. It was about the roughness of life, which is like the gut feeling of things, When you met someone, you had to have that gut feeling. And now things have changed, and they're good. And now we have a different place, everything is different, everything's changed. And it will go changing again. And that's why I came out with, which I think is very good, is American Yoga by Pierre Deux and Dance Without Music. And with that, will bring forth another time that people can enjoy. I know a lot of people don't understand it right now, but it's got to be something to where we can keep ourselves happy, keep ourselves new. And I didn't think I was going to talk about American yoga, Dance Without Music on this video, but it turned out that way because I brought that from the 80s, the Dance Without Music, American yoga. And it's about that time that we like now and we cherish now. And we have this time that we have right now that we're enjoying, and it'll be a beautiful memory. But with the things I've learned from the 80s and growing up and everything, I want it to be to where we have another time that we can talk about that's going to be really great, and it's going to be better than the 80s. So that's why I came up with Dance Without Music, Yoga now, American Yoga by Pierre Deux. I didn't think it was going to be a commercial, but it's very important. And it will give us the time that we had in the 80s and the time that we have right now. And we'll have a new time and we'll have more fun. Thank you very much, Pierre Deux.